Welcome to a podcast unlike any other. Presented by the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. In support of our local music scene. It's the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight's guests, Holly Serio. And Steven Courtney. This episode is sponsored by Millersville University. And now, your hosts, Daniel Keim and Alan McCutcheon.
Hi, welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel. Alan, unfortunately, could not make it here today, but we'll be just fine without him. This week, we have some very exciting guests. First one here is Holly Serio. Holly, thanks for coming out. We're excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. If you don't know Holly, she is on the board of directors for the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame and Awards, and we're really excited to have you here on the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. She's been a huge influence on the Central Pennsylvania music scene in many of different ways. So, Holly, why don't you just kind of tell everybody what it is that you do for both the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame and also in your, career, your personal career.
I am on the board of directors for the Hall of Fame. I am the director of educational services. So the education piece is actually what makes the nonprofit a 501c3 status, is the education. It's not just recognizing local musicians, which has been absolutely incredible, but it's educating as well. So there, in several ways that's done. We've done classes on ukulele and bucket drums to kids of all ages. We have had the Hall of Fame hosted a youth music showcase last year at the Englewood, where the top youth performers, they got to perform on stage for 3 judges who gave them really amazing feedback.
Like
and then they were
like local American Idol.
It was
almost.
awesome. Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And then there were some speakers on different topics to help educate the kids about different aspects of the music industry. And there's also in June, those youth artists, are going to be recording a music video at Rock Lidditz. So that's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, Rock Lidditz is a big deal.
It's a huge deal, yeah. So they're getting exposure in all these different aspects to figure out where they want to continue on in the music scene, with being a performer or behind the scenes or as an educator. So they're kind of getting exposure through all the amazing things the Hall of Fame has done. At the awards show every year, there's an educator of note. So it's a local music educator who has done really incredible things that year that's recognized. So that's an amazing thing too. So that's one thing that's not youth based, but I mean it is but it's actually shining a light on the educators.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's not youth based, but it is still at least giving credit to those who deserve it for being an educator and helping the future generations to our local music scene.
Yeah, exactly. And so what's amazing about this and having this status and having the education piece to it is when you think recognizing Central Pennsylvania musicians, you think all of us that are out at the bars and the restaurants and doing all these incredible gigs, and there are other people, there are other aspects too that go along with the music scene, like education. So I kind of help promote that side of it.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, you've been around since the beginning of the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame, since year 1. We're going into year 4 now, which is it's wild. And what are your thoughts about from where you've started to where you are now and what you see for the future for the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame?
I think, myself included, but everybody is blown away at how quickly this has exploded. Clearly, there was a massive need for recognition of the local music scene, and we have so many incredible musicians around here that didn't have this platform before and this recognition before, and this network that Brandon has created through the Hall of Fame, and everybody who's been working on the board and everybody else. I mean, the musicians on social media promoting each other. Yep. It has been unbelievable the support that has come out of this. And
Absolutely.
I think way faster than anyone could have even imagined.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically what Brandon's done is taken the old and the new with every single way possible to bring them all together with, bringing together the musicians, the venues, the producers, the recording studios, everybody. Bring them all together to find a way to get them to all work together to continue to grow and better our local music scene. And it's really cool. It's something that we've talked about a lot on this show and others and with other, local musicians is Central Pennsylvania has something really special going on here. It's something you don't see just anywhere and everywhere. There's a lot of names that come out of this area, and I think it's because of the support group that we've had over the years, and now we're taking that support group and we're growing it and, feeding it to make it into something even bigger and better, and I think it's going to lead to a lot more great things coming to this area.
Completely agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And it wouldn't be possible without people like you. You're an educator. You've won awards outside of the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame I've seen. You do outside of work, you do music lessons, correct?
I do, yeah. So I was a public music teacher, elementary music teacher for 12 years and left that a few years ago to pursue more freelance opportunities. So I play music for my church. I do restaurant and bar gigs. I go into schools, and I wrote 3 assemblies that promote social emotional wellness through music. So I wrote music, and I wrote these different assemblies to go into the elementary schools and do those. And I also work with a private company who gets government grants to go into schools and teach social emotional wellness through music. And I'm one of the resident musicians who I'm working at 2 schools in Harrisburg right now, 2 schools in Lancaster. So there's a real big need there too.
Yeah.
That as sad as I was to, or as big of a change as it was to leave public ed, because I loved being an elementary music teacher, I wouldn't be able to have these opportunities if I was still working there full time. So to be able to pursue these other avenues of, music for myself is really been incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, somebody's got to get out there and help people out with, discovering what arts they enjoy and, figuring out what they're capable of and how they can move forward with that, and they need somebody like you to help them with those kind of things. So thank you for your contribution.
Absolutely. I love being able to help kids find the expression and themselves, and connect with the emotional side of music and how therapeutic it can be. And I always said about my students, if they leave my class and they know what a quarter note is, cool, that's great.
Yeah.
But if they leave feeling brighter and feeling like there is a way they can express themselves and just feeling loved in that sort of space with me for however long I had them, that was the real goal.
Yeah.
And even if music, and I always told them too, if music isn't your thing, that's okay. But it is almost like creating this environment where it's like a safe place to experiment and because I mean, we as musicians know that we've never been through a performance and done it perfectly by any means, right? So a good musician is not about being perfect. It's about recovery. So can you recover and keep going and that kind of thing? That pursuit of perfection is really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to be able to help kids with that and just to have fun with them in that way is really amazing.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. Music is a form of expression at the end of the day, and there's a lot of things that that can help these students, especially these young minds, deal with their emotions and express themselves. And I mean, even myself as a musician, there's even days where I'm just having a bad day, and it sounds cliche. It sounds so cliche. I just sit down at the piano for a minute or pick up my guitar for a minute. Playing music for 20 minutes can bring your mood up.
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And if they don't end up being a musician performing with an instrument, but just even kind of helping them become lifelong lovers of music is really important too.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fun to see them tap into that.
Yes.
Whenever I work with them in schools.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of that.
For sure.
And everything you do. Now, I guess we are kind of running a little bit low on time here. Is there anything out there that you'd like to shout out? I know you do live music performances yourself, correct?
I do, yeah. So there are a few local places that I play at.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm coming up. Brandon and I are playing Funks in Palmyra February 18th.
Okay.
So that's coming up really soon. I'm playing at a music camp in Lebanon in the summer. I just did Sip at Soma in Harrisburg in January, so that was really fun. Doing that again in July. So a lot of different kinds of things that are happening.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, the type A personality in me thrives on routine. So waking up in the morning sometimes it's like, okay, where do I need to put my brain, or what kind of music do I need to tap in?
Yeah.
You know, right now I'm practicing a musical because I'm playing Beauty and the Beast for a local high school. So
that's cool.
So it's so many different opportunities and kind of gigs that I'm getting to do, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, musicals are a lot of fun. I did 2 in high school, actually.
They are my favorite thing.
Yeah?
Yes. I got the score the other day, and it's like, oh, okay, no, 346 pages. That's totally normal.
Oh, that's totally fine, right?
It's fine. Yeah. Just show up, no big deal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it's so fun. I mean, just like the constant, I love it. They're my favorite thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I had never done anything like that before in my life,
Yep.
and my friends were like, dude, do the musical. Get you out of school for a little bit. And I was like, all right.
That too.
I ended up totally enjoying it. We did Thoroughly Modern Millie my sophomore year, and then Hello Dolly my junior year.
I love it.
Oh,
Yeah, I
it
did
was
Hello Dolly a couple years ago. It's
Yeah?
just such this compact, intense musical experience, all within a week. I mean, the chaos of Tech Week and trying to put all the pieces together, so much fun.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
You're right. It is a lot of fun because it's like it comes down to crunch time, and you're like, okay, we got to get this done. Like,
Yep.
but we have to make it perfect.
The pressure.
Yes,
You got to make it perfect, right? And it's the beauty of live music. I love playing live because the incredible moments are here and gone, and so are the mistakes.
Yep.
So it's all part of it. I just love seeing it all come together.
I like the way you explained it.
Yeah, that's
Well, I guess I have one more question for you. I guess being your position with the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame, being on the board, and what your career outside of there, what would your advice be to any young and aspiring musicians right now?
That is a great question. I think that's a really great question.
Take your time.
Yeah. I mean, without sounding cliche, you have to love it. You have to love the kind of music you play. You have to love performing for other people. I think the biggest advice I would give is, coming from experience, let go of that need, that hypercritical need to be perfect, because that gets in the way of the enjoyment of it. Like I said earlier, there's never been a performance that I've done perfectly. And the sooner you can let that go and not be hard on yourself. I mean, still, obviously, because there was a guy that I talked to once, a fellow musician, and I said, why do you think perfectionists tend to gravitate toward music? If music is something that you can never get perfect, I mean, very, very rarely. But I'm a perfectionist, so why would I continue to gravitate towards something that, like, I can never quite get? And he said it perfectly. He said, I don't think it's getting it perfect. I think it's the pursuit of perfection that's really fun, because you play, I know, right? It was like this moment for me, because you get done playing this piece and you have these moments where everything does go right and clicks, and that's so much of a meaningful experience. And when you don't, you always have a reason to go back. Always.
Absolutely.
Well, there's always something you can fix. There's always something you can improve. So that's the fun of it. And what I always told my students, so I guess going back to your question, is don't let that frustrate you. Let that motivate you, and to just keep trying one more time. I had a teacher once that said, in the practice room, if you only ever sound good, then you're practicing the wrong things. Right? So we're supposed to be practicing things that are a little bit out of our range to challenge us. So when that happens, when you are learning something and there's that learning curve and it feels frustrating, just keep with it, because it will just continue to get better and better and better. So I think that would be the advice I would give.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah, I would have loved somebody to say that to me years ago, to just let go of that pressure you put on yourself and just focus on enjoying it.
Absolutely, because if it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, right. You
So,
got it.
Well, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that with
For
us.
sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and also thank you for coming out. I guess is there anything else that you'd like to shout out or anything like that?
No, thank
okay?
you. No,
Yeah.
just thank you guys for doing this. This is incredible.
Of course, thank you.
This is part of the snowball effect of this whole thing blowing up so much faster than everybody thought. This is a part of this.
Yeah,
So
it really
you are
is.
giving exposure to everybody in another way, which is incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, and, that's what we want to do at the end of the day is help out every single musician out there possible that people pour their heart and souls into this.
Yep.
And it's worth something. You know, I think that they deserve 10, 15 minutes to get out there and talk about themselves and talk about what they do and how, they could use help or how they can help someone, And I think that if everybody took that approach in a lot of different things in this world, we could, be in a much better place.
Agreed. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, same.
All right. We have Steven Courtney, a performer, studio owner who's done a lot for the community and has an awesome story. Steven, thank you for coming on.
It's great to be here with you guys. The set is impressive.
Thank you.
Even if the interview is lousy, look at that, it's that. Man. These guys, it's just like you walk in, you're like, wow, this is totally legit.
Even if the interview's bad, you're still going to look good on camera.
Right. Just mute it and try to figure out what.
There we go. We'll get screenshots.
Believe it or not, this used to be an auto parts store, and it looked like it when we started renovating it. And I said to Brandon after we were done, I was like, yeah, I mean, if this doesn't work out, at least we could maybe start a remodeling business or something. So.
That's such a great segue into what I want to talk about.
Oh, great.
Perfect. I love
Wonderful.
it. I want to see this. I want to see the bridge.
Because everybody's got a story.
Yeah,
it's true.
And you start. That's one of the things I love about the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame movement is that it gives you just this bigger sense of community and finding kindred spirits and people that have. It's all over the map with where they've been in the industry. Everything from Claire Brothers to Brett Michaels. It just goes on and on.
Yep.
And to be a part of it and to be recognized by the organization and just to even be able to just rub shoulders with these folks, it's a great thing. And congrats to you guys for making this thing happen and
thank you.
getting it up and running.
Thank you very much. And it takes people like you to make things like this possible for people like us. You're an award-winning studio owner yourself, and it sounds like it didn't just happen overnight. You started out how many years ago working on your music career?
Yeah. I mean, the first real sense that I had a love for music started in elementary school. It was the music teacher pushing the piano into the classroom, and you could hear it coming down the hallway. She's like 80 pounds, this thing like 400 pounds. And you'd hear it stop at the door, and you'd be like, is it our day, and she'd come flying in and grab your silver Burdette books off the wall, and had these music books. And I just remember opening it up and seeing the illustrations and seeing the songs kind of charted out and feeling something inside of me just like move. I was, really like, this is going to be great. And then she'd teach us a song, and she would give us little lessons if we wanted to learn a song for the talent contest for your classroom. And then that would be an all grades talent contest. And that's kind of how it started for me as far as performing. And then when I was 15, I went over to a friend's house, and he was playing guitar. And I'm like, dude, I didn't know you know how to play guitar. And he's like, yeah. And he showed me how to do, how to read the little chord chart, and here's where your fingers go. And he stood up, and I was like, can I try your guitar? He's like, yeah, have at it. And that first E minor chord, I was like, oh yeah, I could do something, And then the songwriting, I was always a lyrics guy, and so the idea that
was me too.
Just like, wow, and my first songs, you probably could relate, empathy. Good and empatheted. Remember that? We did that in the 70s.
Yep. And
I just remember being like, feeling like, man, I don't have a story to tell yet. I really don't. I've got this huge desire to write songs. I wrote 8 songs a day. I got my guitar, and they're just ridiculous. But that desire was there.
Yeah, I found one of my old notebooks recently in an old box. And I found it. I was like, oh my God, this is like one of my first lyric books. And I was like reading through it, and I was like, Oh God, no. I was like, that just goes back in the box and it does never come out.
Exactly. Yeah, and I had the same thing, and I didn't really feel validated for me just as a writer until I started writing songs for children and for families, and kind of with the dual idea of trying to reach both of them. Like, I want this to connect with children. I want to be able to either give them something fun or something memorable, and or maybe something that'll help shape who they are. But I also know that mom and dad, if their kids like it, mom and dad got to listen to this thing.
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So
unlike Baby Shark, because every parent hears that song comes on and
Yeah.
they have like PTSD. So
and that song is what it is, but my thing was always to aim for this different demographic, kind of see the whole picture of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And so through the years, I've been fortunate to put out over 20 albums of kids and family music and some Parents' Choice
so
Award
impressive.
winners, which is fun to say.
I heard you did 5 Sesame Street songs.
5 Sesame Street songs. Yeah, and that just, again, happened very organically through an animator that's here up in Reading area, Tony Dusko, and he was a school teacher at the time, and I came in and did a school program for his kids, and he just was like, they were so engaged, and the songs were really good songs, and that's what I say about feeling validated. Like when you do something like that, you go into just a total group of strangers and have an adult be like, I want an album, I'm like, there you go. That's who I am as a writer. That's what I really identify with.
that's
And the
awesome.
Sesame Street thing just happened very organically. It was just
Well, it's so cool how you had this love for music at a young age.
Yeah.
And it went full circle. You
Right.
grew into your music over the years, and then you came back to teaching children about their love for music as well, and
Right.
how they can express that love for music and actually truly learn it and go out there and do the same thing you're doing now.
Yeah, you wanted to create the opportunity for them to experience the exact same thing that you felt,
right.
which is that's crazy. That's super deep.
But it is legit. I mean, and I just had some 4 school assemblies last week, and to see that energy in them just come alive, and to even have teachers come up afterwards and go, "Oh, I didn't even know that child had that in them." The response or reaction, or they were the one, just
Yeah.
all over it, and you're like, "Isn't that remarkable?" That it just took something, the opportunity to be there and share what I love, and it inspires somebody else. You mentioned the songwriting thing being this thing you look back at and you're like, oh, it's ridiculous. I do have some of that with some of the kids and family music, but over time and being able to, it's been a full-time gig since 91. Wow. Between doing school assemblies and the run up to that was I was doing 125 shows a year, working 55 hours a week, and had a young family. And then when it happened, it just took off. And
That's so amazing. I mean, it really shows that hard work pays off. You're out there working a full-time job, doing 125 shows a year,
right.
and you have a family yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same question. Where do you find the time? But I guess it's you make the time when you're dedicated,
Well,
right?
yeah, and the thing was, I was still hungry for it, but once the kids and family thing came along, it opened up not only a creative outlet for the songwriting to go in, but the performing outlet. I mean, it's wide open. If schools, libraries, community centers, festivals,
That's true.
Just take those community church events, wherever there's a need to look at what you do as a performer as to be able to go, it's a service as much as it is something that's feeding me.
Yes.
Can I provide an experience for you that you can trust, and that's going to be inspirational, motivational? Hey, it's the Muppet Show.
Right?
It's so funny because it's like you've done all this, and I was trying to think of how to put this into words. It's like you were like, man, I love music. I realized I have a connection with music. I want to write music. I want to write music for kids and families. I want them to be able to connect through music and everything. And like now, I just feel like a self-indulgent like almost like a douche, because it's like I'm like, oh, I wanted to write yelling songs about my heartbreak and you should listen to them and like them, but you're like, let's make people like music. I'm like, all right, guy, like I guess I wasn't that good. Like,
Well, yeah, but see, that has a place too. Yeah,
it does.
That's the power. That's the universal power of music. Is just this thing that connects us all. And I saw something just the other day. Music's a foreign language you learn. Music's math. Music is science. It's all there. When you really study it and look at it. And what I love is the cultural impact that when you start blending genres. And I have an artist in residence program I do at schools and teach children songwriting. And we have a whole day where I take the lyrics that we've written together and I put them through the musical genres. We do it in a blues format, and we do it in country format, and then we go early rock and roll. What's that sound like? What's hip hop sound like? And I'm not a hip hop guy, but I can emulate enough of that energy for them to be able to see wow, our song really had one thing when it was more of a folk song, and it felt totally different when it was a rap song,
Yeah.
And it's what fires you up musically, maybe you're going to be the next songwriter that's writing somebody to inspire or help somebody to get through whatever they're going through, so
I think that's really where I was that was my thing. But no, to circle back to that, I make the joke, but to me it is wild. It's astounding that because you have a entirely different relationship with music than I do, and I not in any kind of I mean this as a compliment. I couldn't even fathom wanting to do music the way you want to and the way that it means to you, just because it's such a different thought process regarding music, and it's such a different relationship with music than I have.
Yeah.
And but yet we all still coexist within the art of music. And it's we have a home in music together, even though we're polar opposites.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the beauty
Yeah.
of music. And there is so much of that vast difference here in this community.
Right.
And that's why we're here. And that's why we want to talk to people like you. It's just crazy. I never thought I would ever meet someone that kind of flipped me upside down, on how I view my relationship with music, because I would have never been able to do that. But I want to write for kids, and nothing against the kids or anything.
Right.
That's just not how my brain works.
Yeah.
So
and you say you're a lyrics guy. Now that I find that really interesting because, and I am too. But we're both coming at it from this totally different spectrum. What's the end use going to be?
Yeah.
And they're both valid.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It really is. Man, this turned out to be a pretty almost like a mind-blowing experience.
It is. And I think to both of your points is music, and you said at one point music is art and art is expression, and it's whatever you feel. And I think that's the neat thing about it when you have I'm literally sitting between the both of you right now, and you both have two different relationships with music, and I think that's the beauty of it. And it's almost like a metaphor for what we're doing right here, bringing people together for it,
That's really a good place to come full circle since the timer's run out. And
we can go over.
We'll give you a few extra minutes.
But that really is what I sense in the community that we're building and that we're allowing to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always been a rub for me when somebody disses a genre, and I'm like, if you don't like beans, don't eat beans. You don't have to tell me you don't like beans. You don't have to post it that you don't like beans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, let's go. Eat something else. Yeah. When it comes to music and genres and all of the different ways that we can express ourselves through the power of music, just let it be.
Yeah.
I was that guy. I'll admit that for the longest time. I was I still my primary genre is metal, hardcore, and stuff like that. But for the longest time I was I don't understand how anyone can listen to country. I was country is terrible. In this past year, and I think it takes growing up and looking at music as an art and through a broader lens.
Right.
It does. It took a specific artist, which Morgan Wallen. I don't think we're gonna get in trouble for saying that at all. But Morgan Wallen really opened up country to me, and you don't have to like the genre, and you might not, but it might just take a specific artist,
right?
And the way they have their relationship with music, and the way they have their relationship with that genre, that can get you into it.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with rap. I never really liked rap, and then my girlfriend showed me Juice WRLD, and I was like, wow, I was just the way he writes lyrics, and it was so deep and so meaningful, and everything. I was and that's what got me. I was okay,
yeah.
And it's exactly like you said. I was one of those people I don't understand how you listen to country, but I've come full circle and everything. And I'm I get it now. You just got to find your right avenue through it.
And you gain inspiration from no matter what you're hearing. You're going to be influenced by it, whether it's your thing or not. You can take it for what it's worth. You never know when you're going to hear a lyric in a country song that makes you open up to say something in a new way that you didn't know you had.
Yep.
You didn't know you had the potential to do that. Like with the Sesame Street songs, counting to 14, I learned how to do it. It's hard to say that with a straight face, but I tried. Gotta learn how to count to 14 in a whole different way, And they want it sequential. They give you the parameters of how to write that 1 minute song. It's got to be 1 minute long. But I love the challenge of that. Like, it's got to be 1 minute. It's got to cover these things.
It's got to get to 14.
And you got to count 14. You got to just do that 4 times. Oh, okay. In a minute. Oh, I got it. So you just sit there and you run around in circles until you get it. And when you drop it off to them and they run it through their reviews committee and they come back after the first review and go, we're good. Then you're like, I'm glad I started writing songs, all those years ago. Because, again, I never dreamed that I'd write songs for Sesame Street. But
here you are, right?
It's kind of fun to say.
I never thought I would meet someone that wrote songs for Sesame because I grew up on Sesame Street and so did both of my brothers.
I could tell you how to get there, too. I've actually been to the actual studio down in New York.
What?
Met the production crew and their music producer and the sweetest people. The gal that does Abby Cadabby, she the whole time, she's just like, so where are you from? I mean, legitimate. Like, not in her own voice or where are you from? And this Abby is like right here and you're like, oh, hi, Abby.
Next week's episode, the CPMP takes on Sesame Street.
We're going to show you how to get there.
We can put them right back here and then pop it up.
Oh, my God.
So much fun, though.
Yes. New content, achievement unlocked. New idea. We're going to do it.
I'll see if I can get one of them to come down.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
That'd be
Oh,
great.
my God. That would be amazing, actually.
So
I'm not kidding.
I did want to touch base with you on the studio, though. So you started doing children's music in 91.
Yeah.
When did you get into the studio?
I started dabbling in recording when I was in high school. A little 4-track machine, reel-to-reel, sound on sound. And then upgraded to a 4-track cassette recording deck by TIAC.
All right.
And put out my first Kids and Family record on that format. And then I bought an 8-track cassette, which ran at double speed, Roland, I think it was. And then right at the end, like mid-90s, when they were starting to discontinue the reel-to-reel decks through Tascam, TIAC, I was fortunate. I got a 24-track machine that was a 1-inch tape format instead of the 2, which was a little more cost-effective for me with my studio. And then that ran at 15 imps, and it was just really great quality. And then folks started being like, hey, could you produce a record for me? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So produced all kinds of content through the years. Matt Wheeler, Tractor Jerry, Indian Summer Jars, a Big Sky Quartet, that album of the year last year, their folk album. Casey Walton, Karina Rose. There's a bunch of folks who've just come and they hang out, and I've just got a decent little barn that we all sit in and just chill and make music. And it's recording. You're good. Let's go. Always with the fake English accent as well. That's the vibe,
You got to do it.
Let's do it. All right, here we go. Yeah, good times. But yeah, thank you. To be acknowledged last year with the CMA for that was like really cool.
Yeah.
Really.
It's crazy. It just one thing led to another. Just want to start recording my own stuff, and now you're an award-winning studio.
Yep. I work hard, but the less I push, the more it happens.
Yeah.
You just make yourself available to it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's good things happen on their own, I feel like.
Truly.
Yeah.
Open up yourself to the flow.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we got here. It's
right.
really something that proves itself to you over time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Again, congrats to you guys on making
Thank
this
you
happen.
so much.
Thank
man.
you.
Cool.
Thank you, and congratulations to you for winning last year. Are you up for an award this year?
In the children's music category.
Yep.
Okay.
Children's artists. So
I thought so. I couldn't remember for certain. So,
Yeah.
well,
There's so many different awards, and I'm like trying to remember all of them.
I know,
yes.
right? Well, thank you so much for coming on here. Is there anything
pleasure.
you have coming up, anything new that we don't know about that you wanted to maybe announce or shout out any of your social media or anything like that?
Well, besides doing the Kids and Family thing, I do have Steven Courtney Band of Friends. We're a little rock and roll band. We're on break right now, just taking a little break, but we've got a record out called Drop the Needle, and it's a good listen.
Okay.
It's very, very friendly, kind of 70s. Tom Petty meets Paul McCartney. I don't know. something
Okay.
like that.
All right. I'll check that out.
Hello, how you doing again? I'm towards some Paul. And I'm Tom. And then
Was that English?
Yes, it was. It was a very heavy.
Tom is Florida.
just very
It's
English?
Florida, man. I'm from Florida, okay? And Petty, He's amazing. I miss that guy.
When we need a manager, you're gonna be the guy because if we need someone to be cool or we need someone to be stern, like we need
British.
Todd. No, we need Paul. Like because no one's more intimidating than a really English person with a really strong accent.
Right.
Like no, they're not gonna be doing that. No, that was more like Trump. I'm terrible at accents. I'm terrible.
We can't get out of this interview. We can't. We can't.
Try.
It's the never-ending
We
interview.
tried so hard. Went back to you, John. So good. So now that I know you guys think that's funny, I won't stop.
The audio listeners are gonna be so confused.
I'm gonna hide.
You do it, I just lock up and I'm just dying. It's great.
Too much fun.
It's a blast. Well, thank you for coming on. It's
Still.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's still on. All right. While you're here, get off of the set.
Your bit is done.
No. Leave the building.
Anything else you wanted to mention?
No, that's
or-
it. I mean, we're doing kids and family concerts all through the summer concert season. StevenCourtney.com.
Awesome.
If you're listening and you've got children in school and you want me to come visit them, just hit my website and get the booking process started. There's no commitment to inquire about a booking. So
Awesome.
I'd love to do it.
Let's get it out there. Get the word out there. All right.
Appreciate it.
We'll put the information in the details below.
Yes, sir.
That's
And
right.
All right.
link in the bio.
Smash that like button. Subscribe now. Just kidding. Don't smash it. You have to buy a new one then. All right.
They were supposed to do that at the beginning.
All right, do like this with us. Dat dat boom, 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 dat dat boom. Can you feel it? Feel that groove, man. It's the rhythm of the happy band. Got a big backbeat. And the bass down low, people smiling. You can feel the warm glow singing. Dat dat boom, dat dat boom. Everybody say dat dat boom, dat dat boom. Oh, out in the street, where in the street, in your neighborhood, you gotta let that music play. It sounds so good. Everybody gonna work together. Work together. We can unify. Cause we're all friends here. Working together to get by. We were singing dat dat boom. Dat dat boom. Dat dat boom. Dat dat boom. You know now, love makes the world a beautiful place. Show the world your smiling face. Can you hear it? It's the world beat. We're gonna move together. Oh, shuffle your feet. Everybody say all for one now. All for one now. We got to unify. Cause we're all friends here. And we're working together to get by. Shout it out, sing it, dat dat boom. Dat dat boom. Dat dat boom. Dat dat boom. You know makes the world a beautiful place. Show the world your smiling face. Everybody knows love makes the world a beautiful place. Show the world your smiling face. Sing it for us, come on now. Love makes the world a beautiful place. Show the world your smiling face. Everybody singing, dot dot boom.